sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Believe in a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing.
That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From the city of angels, some would say the city of fallen angels, but I won't say that. Los Angeles. Welcome to all my listeners out there in Radio Land. I'm Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver, at caregiverdave.com, along with my lovely co-host, former mayor of a California peach town, not a peach town, but a beach town, and best-selling author of The Happiest Corruption, Sleaze, Lies, Suicide in a California beach town, Debbie Peterson. And we're also coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on numerous syndicated radio networks, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Vimeo, Stitcher Radio. The list goes on and on. And in fact, we are proud to be voted #1 caregiver podcast in the top 50 on Player FM, and #2 on FeedSpot out of the top 60, and #2 on caringvillage.com. And we have an especially exciting show planned for you today. Back for his second return so quickly because he has so much to talk about, Dr. Wayne, the Mango Man. Pickering, the ambassador for health, is talking about today, is your diet a riot? The science of nutrition. He's great with the words, just like Muhammad Ali. Dr. Wayne has his Ph.D. in natural science plus a doctorate in naturopathy. I can get this word. Naturopathy. I think that's right. With an additional doctorate in theology and a master's degree in nutrition. He's an author of 29 books which can be found on mangoman.com, mangomanbooks.com. Over 100 CDs, several DVDs, over 300 articles on fitness, stress, nutrition, and overall wellness, plus 10 health systems that are now in 46 countries. And some of the best pictures that I've seen since Jack LaLanne. I want to take this moment first to thank my last week's guest, the founder of Dementia Caregiver Resources, Karen Truman. And just a reminder, you can watch or listen to that interview and all our interviews, including this one, on our membership website, caregiverdave.com, or any of our other 26 global audio and video platforms that I mentioned earlier. All right, Dr. Wayne, so happy to have you on again.
Thank you. Listen, it's great to be back with you again here, Dave and Debbie.
We've got so much. Mutual.
Thank you. We've got so much to share with the listeners here today. And by the way, that's called naturopathy.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Naturopathy. That sounds so much better.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to ask you what I always ask my guests about, why were you placed on this earth? You already answered that last time. Let's get right into it because we only have probably 25 minutes, which isn't a lot for you. So let's get to our first question. You were the runaway in your family. I'm assuming, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure you'll explain it to us. I know you wanted to get into the United States from Canada. You volunteered to serve in the Vietnam War. Wow. Share your wisdom with us.
Well, let me tell you. I know I probably shared this with you before, but my folks were married so many times, they had scars just from the rice. And, when you're married several times, each one of them to different people, of course. I was bonded into the United States because I was a leading naval cadet for Canada in 1963. To get into the country, I volunteered to go to Vietnam, and I spent 3 terms over there, which was an eye-opener and makes you so appreciative of just coming back and flushing a toilet. I mean, the simple, and turning on a water that didn't come out brown and green and all of that, do you see? This is great where we're living.
We take so much for granted, yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you. But I've learned a couple lessons in my life, really. Things in life just don't happen. They happen justly. And a great friend of mine, we had him on our podcast here, oh golly, a few few months ago, Dr. Willie Jolly. Maybe it was about, golly, I can't believe it's close to a year now. And the title of his book is A Setback is a Setup to Come Back. And I always teach this too, Dave, that when you're at rock bottom, that's the best platform to start growing.
Yeah, so, nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. So in conclusion to that, when I was at my lowest time in my life, suicidal twice and so many different episodes, had no idea what in the world I was going to do, that within 2 weeks, we have a 3-step plan that was given to me this day, that within 2 weeks, people will discover what they're going to do for the rest of their life with the entrepreneurial side of their life, absolutely free. If they want to just go to mangomancareer.com, just click on it. It's an audio program I did, and it also tells my story, and it's my gift for our audience today.
Well, Dr. Wayne, are entrepreneurs born or are they taught? That's a debate.
Well, no, that's a very good question, actually. You see, when you're passionate about about something, you've got to let your vocation be your vacation. And then, if you love what you do, then it's like a vacation. I mean, I love what I do. I've reached out to so many hundreds of thousands of people with what we're doing, millions, I should say, because of our podcasts and all the different things that we've done over the years. But this is really, really the right time in your life to go ahead and take the entrepreneurial side of your life and make that your passion.
And I love what I'm doing too. And you know, when you're having fun, the time goes very quickly. I was just 21, you know, like yesterday, it seems like, and my brain hasn't caught up with reality that the body has. And I'm almost going to be 70 in 6 or 7 more months. That's so hard to believe. That just sounds so old. And my wife is going to be 80, and she gives me dirty looks whenever I say something like that I'm going to almost be 70, and that sounds so old. But I guess it's all relative. If you're 94, as my aunt is, she calls me a youngster. So, you know, what the heck?
Well, okay. I've got a question then. If you talk a lot, we're talking about longevity, and you're talking about the 9 components that keep us healthy for life. So can you give us the brief rundown on that so we know how nutrition fits in with this being 70 and feeling 17?
Good one. Well, let me tell you, when I was past president of the National Speakers Association here in Florida, and I've been to so many NSA conventions, their yearly endeavor, and I was in the exhibit hall there, and a man come up to me, and his name was Bobby Giles. He's from Montgomery, Alabama. And he said, Dr. Pickering, he said, you know what? He said, I heard you speak the other day. You're good. He said, I've got to go ahead and I was asked to go ahead and book somebody for a series of seminars in Alabama. Are you interested? I said, sure. He said, well, I got you booked right now for 14 seminars in a 12-day period. I'm going somewhere with these 9 components, okay? in a 12-day period in all different towns. So I would have to tear down the afternoon stage, ride to the next town to go ahead and load up another one, because none of them were in the same town, all 14 in 12 days, if you can imagine. So, but there was one thing they all had in common, every one of those towns in Alabama. Doc, you're pretty good up there, buddy. Do you think I can get me a new start on life? I said, a new start? I said, yes. And so I started playing that word with that word, and a new start. Those are the 9 components that's going to keep you healthy for life.
Wow.
And yes. So, and those are 9 letters in like an acronym. And here's the 9 components that's going to keep you healthy for life: attitude, nutrition, exercise, sunshine, tenacity, air, rest, and temperance in all we do. And if you take a look at that acronym, what heads the list? Attitude, right? So I put a little poem together. I said, if we have enough fortitude to develop an attitude of sincere gratitude for our body's magnitude, we will have an aptitude to reach a higher latitude for an ultimate altitude. So,
Muhammad Ali.
there you go. So go ahead. Back to you.
You're a poet and you don't know it. Maybe you do. Well, that's interesting. I forgot what the question was.
But it was the one about nutrition. So how does nutrition fit into that?
Okay, let's do this. What I did is I've titled this "The Science of Nutrition," and I'd like to say this. This is the best definition of nutrition I give all my audiences. Nutrition doesn't heal. The body does the healing. And the body, it doesn't heal. All it is nutrition. All it is a series of 4 processes that the body employs to make food, materials for the body to use. That's it, cut and dry. And here's those 4 processes. The food has to break down. It has to get into the body. The body uses it. Now it eliminates. So that's digestion, absorption, assimilation, elimination. And it's a science. And it never, ever changes. It's how we apply it that changes. So if we get the basic components, which is what I teach about nutrition, you're going to get a head start on your endeavors, or your aspirations, I should say, with your health endeavors. So that's it. That's nutrition in a nutshell.
That's a really unique way of looking at it. And I really appreciate that, because I'm really kind of tired of being told, eat this food, it's the magic bullet, but it's something I'm allergic to. And it's, for me, it is a bullet, but it's not a magic bullet.
That's true. Well, do you see, the problem is too many people say you take this and you take that and you take this. No. Eat the best food. And when you find out, like, I'd eat nothing but the best food. Okay. And
you mean organic?
As much as I can, yes. But what I do in the fruits and vegetables and the protein that I'm going to be eating. But the whole point is this, that we've got to listen to our body. I have my personal ailments list. And when something happens to me, I said, I'm going to put that in my personal ailments list. And then maybe 2 to 3 months comes down the road and I might have that again and didn't know that I had an adverse reaction to it. And I said, what happened? So I go back to my personal ailments. That's what happened. Okay. So after 3 times that I go through that, it's done. 3 strikes you're out kind of thing, you know? So we've got to listen to our bodies, because the body is the miracle of miracles. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that was one of the other things that I was thinking on the questions was, I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm going to need to go back to what my question was on that, but it was about how we look at our bodies. And I think you had some teaching on that we could benefit from.
Well, first of all, let's do this. There's 5 elements to a sound, healthy nutrition plan. Then we can move on to that. Will that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
right.
Because it all works together.
Yes. All right. There's 5 elements. You don't have to eat to lose weight. You don't have to do this. You don't have to count calories, weigh this, measure that, whatever. Excuse me. We need to eat foods, number 1, when they're in season. It doesn't do you any good eating watermelons for Christmas. Number 2, you need to eat foods that they can grow in your type of environment. Now, I will say this. I don't think it benefits Eskimos to be eating watermelons.
No, they need to eat fish. Yeah.
Well, the things that are more cohesive with the environment they're in. But yet we've got to be as diligent as to the quality of everything we eat. Here's a good line to think of too, Debbie and Dave. Most people today are serving food on the basis of taste and tradition, and they do it in haste and forgot nutrition. And I tell the audience, never give up your health in your quest for wealth, because you will, not maybe, you will spend all that wealth to regain your health. And then when you die, something significant happens. You know what that is? Your brother-in-law gets to drive your car. Now, that's a bummer. Okay, so the third...
That's a motivator.
Yeah. So the third component, or element, if you will, to a sound, healthy nutrition plan would be the first one's eat foods when they're in season. 2, eat them if they can grow in your type of environment. Third one is according to your activity that you're involved in, your occupation or whatever. And number 4, eat foods according to your body's digestive chemistry, respecting your acid alkaline balance. And that's why I decided to make my main focus on nutrition, even though I have 3 doctorates. I went ahead and I took back and I went ahead and I focused on the nutrition and the science of it, and found out that there are foods that are not compatible with other foods, even though they're good for you. So, and the 5th element is this: eat more raw foods than cooked. I always tell everybody, if it's not fit raw, it's worse yet cooked. So that's...
You like sushi then?
Sure, once in a while I'll have that. But you see, I have so many, like when people go to mangomanrecipes.com, they will get that CD-ROM of 400 of our recipes, and every one of them are there for your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and they go out about per season. And they're all like, here's all your Januaries, here's all your Februaries, here's all your Marches and everything. What can I do when I'm eating out? And what can I do during holidays to eat? So we wanted to make this whole process for people to make it very simple. Because if you make people think, you lose them.
Well, I have to ask you, because right now keto is the rage, and as you know, it's a modification of the Atkins diet. Dr. Atkins basically saying lower your carbs, eat more fat, eat more protein, eat vegetables and fruit, and instead of those carbs turning into fat, and stay away from sugar, of course. Your body will burn the fat off, and you'll actually lose weight. You'll feel fit. You'll have higher energy. What's your definition? No, forget. What is your opinion is what I meant to say of keto, because everybody's talking about it.
Well, do you see, most of the time, if people would understand that might have a benefit, because it could be better than what they're doing now.
Which is eating junk and getting fat.
There you go. And I tell people this. Well, I want to get into that here in just a little bit. What's your breakfast? What's your lunch? What's your dinner? And that way we'll have it all in where people totally understand that what we're teaching here, that this makes sense.
Yeah. And also for the vegetarian people, some people think being a vegetarian is very unhealthy, and then other people think just the opposite.
Well, it's true. There's pros and cons about every kind of diet, okay? And we don't teach diet. We teach nutrition, how we're designed to eat. And then if you put those 5 elements to that sound nutrition plan, you're going to make it. You don't have to count calories. You don't have to weigh this, measure that, whatever. Now,
so certain foods need to be eaten before other foods, like in order or combining. Don't eat these 2 foods together, right?
That's correct. Good one. Okay, let me tell you, it's called food combining. And here's a short definition of food combining and how does the body work scientifically. Food combining is a sensible, scientific way to eat your food so that everything you eat stands the best chance of digesting and not staying in the stomach any longer than it should. So now the purpose of food combining is not to, make things difficult. It's to uncomplicate the process of digestion, thereby eliminating digestive problems. I ask people, if it's insane, we know it's not sane. If something's inharmonious, we know it's not harmonious. If something's indigesting, that doesn't mean it's halfway digesting. It's not digesting. Now you get gas, heartburn, flatulence, everything. And it's a shame, but then people will go ahead and they'll take this, they'll take that. So let's look at the science of how the body really works, okay?
Okay.
Everything starts in the body at the cellular level. And a cell is called a zygote, Z-Y-G-O-T-E, okay?
Yeah.
So many cells make tissues. So many tissues make organs. And so many organs make systems. And there are 10 systems that work together harmoniously for normal function. And what's the system? That's your muscular system, respiratory system, digestive system, reproductive, glandular, lymphatic. There's 10 systems, elimination. There are 10 systems that make up this body. And and each one of them actually are a separate entity in and of itself, independent, or I should say, but they're all dependent on each other. So the system we have the most control over is the digestive system. The way we feed ourselves, this in turn affects all the others. So here's digestion. The digestion system is the site of ongoing chemical activity, and different chemicals are needed for the digestion of different types of foods. So say, for example, starch foods. They require an alkaline medium, which is supplied initially, and it's the only food that breaks down chemically in the mouth. And it's with a digestive enzyme called ptyalin. That's a P-T-Y-A-L-I-N. And protein foods require an acid medium for digestion, and that is pepsin, P-E-P-S-I-N, and it also has to have hydrochloric acid. So anyone who knows anything about the chemistry knows that acids and alkalines neutralize each other. So when I tell people, eat foods in a compatible combination with your body's digestive chemistry, respecting your acid-alkaline balance, that's an easy process. And you're going to notice that if you, like acids and alkalines neutralize each other. So here you've got a very high acid that is beginning to break down the protein in the stomach. And it's known that if you put your fist, if you could, into your stomach while you're digesting protein, and you pull your fist back out in a half an hour to an hour, chances are you wouldn't have a fist. The hydrochloric acid is so strong. So if that's the way it is, then why doesn't it eat through the stomach? Because you have a mucosa, your mucous membranes all through the whole stomach, to where that's how we're, let's say, buffered out or saved. So when they're forced to work at the same time, Dave and Debbie, digestion is completely arrested, and food will not only rot, whether it's allowed to stay in the stomach or at 85 degrees. If you put, let's say, a melon out there in the sun, or any kind of food in the sun for, let's say, 85 degrees for about an hour, you know good and well as I do that it's going to rot. Well, the temperature of the stomach during digestion is 104 to 106 degrees.
Wow.
So the science of body is very simple. It's the science of cause and effect. We've got to deal with the cause. And isn't it ironic that most people in the best fed nation in the world have so much trouble digesting their food? The problem is compounded when we not only mix it all up improperly, but most of us eat with no discrimination of what it is. To be blunt, we eat junk. And this is not a garbage dump with a hairy lid. This is our corporate headquarters, and we own 100% stock in a blue chip corporation. We gotta quit selling our stock cheap. Put a high price tag on that stock. Come on now. So it's really something when you think about it. Somewhere I read the best way to lengthen your life is to avoid shortening it. And if you, if you will refrain from overeating and combine your foods correctly, as indicated in our food combining guide, that's combinewhenyoudine.com. That's a nice big chart. It shows you exactly how to do it, when the foods are in season, how long they take to digest, all of that good thing, okay? And we wanted to make this, I made that piece of work for me, but I had so many requests for it. You know, we've now been in business teaching the same basic components for 46 years, and this year was the first year we're now in 46 countries. I'm so blessed.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that if we think about putting the foods in our body and chewing it up right and all of that, now we've got it going on. And we got to keep the stress out of our bodies, especially when we eat. That's the worst thing to do when you come to eat. Now, I'm going to throw something at you, Debbie. When we were kids, I can remember my dad had 3 sisters, and they all lived on farms. And I was up at Aunt Jean's this time, and she had several kids, and there was a few kids in our family, and a few of the cousins. We all got together, and I was about 7 or 8, and I can still see this. When on the great big tree up there, there was a swing, and we'd all take turns swinging on it, and all of a sudden, Aunt Jean would go ahead and put a hot, fresh, right out of the oven, delicious apple pie. Now, do you know that just when I'm thinking about that right now, my mouth waters? Mm-hmm. So just the thought evokes the initiation of digestion. So when we sit down to eat, if we take negative thoughts to the table, we're going to have a whole lot of challenge with the digestion of our food. So here's a good line. Men don't die, they kill themselves. So let age be your stage and not your cage. Just respect your body's biological limitations and eating foods in a compatible combination with your body's digestive chemistry. And now you're going to understand that being healthy can be easy. So back to you.
So is that, do you have, I think I saw somewhere 3 commandments of food combining. Have you covered that yet?
No, not yet. There are 7 proper food combining guides, but you mentioned there are 3 commandments of eating, yes. So let's talk about that. And all right, the first one is this. No proteins and starches at the same meal. Meat and potatoes, hamburger on the bun, hot dog on the bun, spaghetti and meatballs, macaroni and cheese, yada, yada, yada. So the protein requires a high acid digestive juices. And starches require alkaline digestive juices. And starch needs, now remember here, in the digestive system, you've got 4 areas where food breaks down. The mouth, the stomach, the duodenum, the jejunum. And in the mouth, since it has 3 sections that the body needs to break it down, it's the only food chemically that breaks down in the mouth. So it's in an alkaline medium to begin with, so that when we eat proteins with it and it gets into the stomach, the body sees, oh, there's protein. I got to create all this hydrochloric acid and all this pepsin and all of that good stuff. So now we've got a neutralizing effect, and oop, gut burp. Oop, what's that, honey? I got to go to the bathroom, honey. And it's all about the cause and effect. So if we understand how this works, but interestingly enough, you see you got a valve that goes into the stomach and one that leaves the stomach. And the one that goes into the stomach is called the cardia valve, and the one that leaves comes into the stomach. The one that leaves the stomach is the pyloric valve. And so if, let's say you have your carbohydrates first, we'll say, okay? Now, when it gets through the stomach, it'll break down, but not chemically and all of that much. But it does break down mechanically a little bit more and pushes it through that pyloric valve that leaves the stomach. Now, it acts like a check valve so that the food can't back up into the stomach. So if you eat proteins a little later, now you can get them both working pretty much at the same time, and you're not going to have that much of a challenge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So no proteins and starches at the same meal. And that's why we put, as I mentioned, that large food combining guide together.
Wait a minute. So the proverbial meat and potatoes that, cowboys eat should not be eaten together, because the potatoes are starch and the meat's protein, right?
That's right. It's exactly right.
So what do you do? When do you eat the potatoes if you're eating the meat?
Very good. Okay. I was going to address that here in a little bit.
Okay, sorry, I got
no,
impatient.
no, dude, that's fine. That's fine. All right. What I do is I teach. Well, let's go through these 3 commandments, and then I can address that better. Would that be okay?
Sure.
All right. So the second one, all right, no proteins and starches at the same meal. No fruits and vegetables at the same meal. And eat melons alone, or leave them alone, or your stomach will moan. They digest with nothing. So what I tell the people to do, okay, we know that we need to eat per season. So, and according to your type of activity, but per season. So I always have them eat the carbohydrate, the fruits and stuff for breakfast. And then I have the vegetables and a starch at lunch. And then I have another type of vegetable in the evening with the protein. Now the body just works so well. I was so sick, Dave, for so long. When I came back from the Vietnam War, I was suffering so bad that they told me I was going to die before I reached 30. I mean, I had rheumatic fever when I was a kid. I was in the hospitals constantly. This was going on, that was going on. And it wasn't until I was at my lowest time that I saw this little postcard on a refrigerator of one of my friends. And I said, Ralph, where in the world what is this all about, man? He said, if you're having any trouble digesting food, he said, that'll help. I said, what? Get a life. And he said, well, what do you got to lose, man? You're suffering all the time from indigestion. Just give this. I was shocked when I took that card home that he gave me, and I started implementing that on food combining. Wow. I was shocked. And these were doctors that initiated that whole process and of food combining to show people that if we do this, then watch. Well, I couldn't believe it. After 10 years of suffering so bad, within like a day, first of all, the first day I felt so much better. But after 2 or 3 days, no indigestion whatsoever. I said, this can't be true. So I went back to eating my same way again. And boy, did I get sick. My stomach was killing me. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try doing this again. And so I went back to eating, according to the science of the way the body works. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I said, no, but got to have 3 strikes, you're out. So I went back again about another month or so and ate like I used to. Dave and Debbie, I got so sick. I said, okay, enough. And that's what really motivated me to, but it was the initiation of what I'm doing to this day. So when you're at rock bottom, that's the greatest platform to start growing. So no proteins and starches at the same meal, no fruits and vegetables at the same meal, and eat melons alone or leave them alone or your stomach will moan. Now, people get the food combining guide and they say, okay, what do I shouldn't eat this with this, but what do I eat when? And that's in one of our charts that comes with the perfect diet program, we call it. That's defeatingbadEating.com. That's been a most popular website, defeatingbadEating.com. And they get all, now they'll say, do you have any recipes? How do we do this? We've got 489 recipes in there. There's 89 of them on a nice chart. You can pick up there and look at it and say, oh, I want to try that one. And it's all done for you. And they get an hour of coaching. They get this, they get that. We try to make this very simple. And since they're listening on your episode here, if they went ahead and bought that, I'm going to give them another $120 set of nutrition audio programs. And that's going to be absolutely free with that program. You don't have to buy that. That comes with that. I'm going to make sure you get that. And just put Dave Nassany. Yeah, right. Interview. And then I'll know exactly what that is for you. I wanted to do something special for your listeners, man. So, but to conclude on that, if people will understand that this is not, as I mentioned, a garbage dump with a hairy lid. We've got to take care of this while we're here because time is a fleeting moment. I'm 76 here in exactly 7 days for all those cards and letters. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Time is a fleeting moment. We got to take care of ourselves while we're here so that we can continue giving back with what we're passionate about. Okay, so there's your commandments of eating.
One more time on how to get the free gift.
Just put in there in the special instructions when they buy that defeatingbadaeating.com site. They're going to get close to $300 worth of goods on there. It's only going to be $88.17. And by the way, I'm also going to give them 14 of our cooking videos free. I never thought about that. I'm just going to do that for you. Yeah. So when they go and get that, just in the special instructions page, just write in there, as per Dave, Caregiver Dave's interview with you, give us the 14 videos and the 6 hours of nutrition audio programs. Now they got it all together and they don't have to worry about it anymore. Back to you.
Wow. And we run out of time, but you gave us a lot to think about, a lot of information. How can people get a hold of you if they want to know even more?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. Mangoman.com is our master site. mangoman.com. That'll take you to our WaynePickering.com site. And I do want to mention something about supplements real quick, okay? Okay. Supplements, they're complements. They're not circumvents. They're to complement the meal and not to take the place of the meal. So when we get the meal down, the nutrition, solid in our lives, then the supplements become a bonus and not an act of appeasement. So I tell all of my audience, never supplement a bad meal. Correct a bad meal. So if they, people just have to know that you're so well designed. Do you know that in conclusion, Dr. Lester Breslow, the Dean of the School of Public Health at the University of California in Los Angeles, said that just by switching from a bad lifestyle to a healthier one, you can expect to live or add as much as 14 years to your life. So for you to take this short time out of your life to learn how to add years to life is a very good trade-off. So hats off to you for being a part of that 2% who take that giant step to move forward with your life. And I tell people, you need to change your philosophy about life. Life is not going to change to suit you. We need to make some significant lifestyle changes to see some incredible immediate benefits. And so when I changed my philosophy on life, not only did my life change, but we've done very well in all areas of my life. So I encourage you to think like this. You're special and you've got a whole new body. Every 2 to 3 days, you got a whole new lining in your mouth. Every 5 days, all new intestinal lining. Every 15 days, all new white blood cells. Every 120 days, all new red ones. All 6 months, you get a whole new bloodstream. Every 11 months, all new cells. 2 years, all new bones. And every 7 years, you've got a whole new body. Now, if that's true, and scientifically we know that's true, why do we die? Here's the reason. If you take, let's say, back in the video days, if you will, if you take a video and you make a copy of the original video, you put the original back and you take the copy and you go ahead and you make a copy of that copy and you do that 7 different times, making one copy from the new copy and the new copy. Notice the resin, the clarity and everything is not that good. And it's the same with this body. So we need to put the best in our bodies because you're a beautiful person with a non-negotiable self-worth and you're not a garbage dump with a hairy lid. We own 100% stock in this blue chip corporation. Never sell your stock cheap, okay? So back to you, and I'm glad to be with you guys here today.
Awesome. Debbie, you're doing so much for rooting corruption out of the political system, the school boards, the city councils, etc. How can people get a hold of you and learn more about what you do?
Well, today I'm going to ask everyone to go to my podcast, which is on YouTube and other places you get your podcast, called Corruption Chronicles. And I'm working on a story called Amy's Story. And that's why I'm down in San Diego today. We were spending the morning with the San Diego City Council, asking them to clean up their Cannabis Act. So today, go see Corruption Chronicles. You will enjoy the podcasts.
Very good. Cannabis Act, huh?
Yeah.
Is it? I won't even ask you that.
It's the whole, yeah, no, you don't need to ask, but it's a story worth hearing. It is one of the best it's one of the worst I've come across, but it's important.
All right. Well, just everybody remember that all our live shows become recorded pod and video casts on all your favorite platforms. And my free membership website, caregiverdave.com, has 34,000 caregivers following me. So come on and join the party. And this is absolutely the last chance you have to sign up for my Acapulco Caregiver Training Mastermind and Wellness Retreat and Vacation. And
I'm going.
She's going. I'm going. I offer these to burned out caregivers, of whom 30% will die before their loved ones do, according to statistics. And that number goes up to 40% if your loved one just happens to have dementia, and 70% if you are over 70. These are scary statistics, folks. And if you click the like or follow button on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this interview on, it helps us reach even more caregivers by improving Google's search engine algorithms for caregivers. So again, thank you to all my listeners out there all over the world for tuning in every Wednesday, making us the #1 caregiver podcast on the internet. So until next week, same time, same channel. May God richly bless you all. Bye-bye.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again.